The new Orion Silver Edition anamorphic lenses from Atlas are a special version of their hugely popular Orion anamorphics with tweaked coatings to give a neutral coloured flare and a different fall off into the out of focus areas. And as part of our recent video on modern cinema lenses with a vintage aesthetic, we filmed a bunch of lens tests going through each lens in the range, so we thought we'd actually go through those tests in more detail in this separate video for you. But if you haven't watched that main video, make sure you head over there and watch that one with the link in the description. So the Orions come in a set with 6 focal lengths, a 32, 40, 50, 65, 80 and 100. And they're T2 across the board, which of course is a huge advantage of going for a matched modern set of lenses like this. Now these are a special order set though, so if you want to buy some, please do get in touch with our sales team who of course can arrange that. But let's look at some tests. So first, let's look at sharpness. These silver editions, just like the regular Orions and pretty much any other anamorphic lens to be honest, are not sharp lenses. As you can see here, wide open, they are quite soft really across the range, and stopped down to T4 things do improve substantially, but we're still relatively soft compared to spherical lenses. Let's just quickly put the 40mm Atlas side by side with the 35mm Canon Summery and you can see what I mean. T4 on the Atlas is still slightly softer than wide open on the Canon, and at T4 on both, there's no comparison really. The spherical Canon clearly gives a more detailed image. I have to point out though, these tests are not particularly fair on the Atlas lenses. These are 2x anamorphics, so really you want a 6:5 aspect ratio sensor to get the right CinemaScope aspect ratio after de-squeezing. We used the Canon C300 Mark III with its 16:9 sensor. And so after a 2x de-squeeze, we get a very long, thin image and have to crop in quite far actually to get back to the 2.35:1 CinemaScope. So this is going to be losing a lot of the sharpness and the detail that is captured. Really for these lenses, you want a camera with a taller sensor that lets you expand the vertical height to get to 4:3 or 6:5 to avoid having to crop in. So with that, these Atlas lenses would be much sharper overall, but they will all still always be softer than modern spherical lenses. But in exchange for that trade-off in sharpness, we get a whole load of optical character here. If we look at the outer focus areas and those fairy lights there, we see that classic vertical anamorphic blur and bokeh that looks almost diamond shaped. Now this stays consistent throughout the range and is a large part of what gives these lenses their character. The actual bokeh itself looks clean with barely any onion skinning or anything like that. Personally, I think they look great. As we do our breathing tests, you can see this bokeh really clearly. They actually get rounder as the focal lengths get towards either the wider or the telly ends of the range. And the 50mm in the middle looks the most diamond shaped of the lot. There is definitely some breathing here though, as you would expect from an anamorphic lens. You can see the lamp there on the left moving in and out quite a bit. As I mentioned extensively in the main video though, what really makes these lenses special is the flaring. Throughout the range you get this long, thin anamorphic flare. But rather than these being blue like regular anamorphic lenses, these take on the colour temperature of the actual light source. So here, with this 5600 torch that George is using, the result is these long silver flares. All of this is of course very subjective, but for me, these flares are really quite beautiful and fit the lighting and the scene more than those blue anamorphic flares, which to me can sometimes feel a bit maybe futuristic or even artificial sometimes. These neutral colour flares feel more natural to me. But like I said, it is of course massively subjective and down to your own personal taste. If we go through the range from 50 to 100, the flares are consistently very thin along the horizontal axis. At 40mm, the flare is much thicker and more noticeable, with this large, almost rectangular box, which isn't there at any other focal length. At 32mm, which is the widest lens in the set, this flaring is again much thicker than the longer focal lengths, but also much softer and more broken up than it is on the 40mm, and I think I prefer that. These flares are really what you're buying these lenses for, and because they take on the colour temperature of the lights in frame, they're going to really feel at home with the rest of your scene. For example, take this warm lamp behind me in the main piece to camera of this video. It gives this long, beautiful, warm flare to go along with that warm light source. And when you look at this RGB light, it really shows just how much they take on the colour of the light source itself as it cycles through those RGB colours. Now let me know what you think of these tests and the way that the new Silver Edition Orions look in the comment section down below. And like I said at the start, if you want to buy some for yourself, just get in touch with the ProAV sales team, who would of course be happy to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.